Good morning. Less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes doesn't seem like a lot of time unless you're watching the clock. When you're watching the clock, 5 minutes can take forever. But if you're busy doing other things, it happens just like that. My name's Karen Hewitt, and I'm here today to talk to you about something that's kind of painful for me that happened last year and why I started the Child CPR Awareness Program. You see, this is my kiddos. I'm a mom, okay? I have 5 kids. If you look, there's Alyssa, Xavier, Rowan, a little blonde girl on the front, Lucius in the middle, and Genevieve on as well. These are my pride and joy. I love them on everything. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, work at home. I have my own business. And my husband's at home too. So we're constantly with them and we're constantly watching them. I've even had people tell me I'm a helicopter parent. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm a helicopter parent enough. You see, this picture was taken 3 weeks later, 3 weeks after October 22nd, 2019, when my life was turned upside down. Have you ever had one of those moments where you just feel crushed, nervous, scared, don't know what to do all at the same time? I'm telling you, 5 minutes on that day felt like an eternity and not enough time at the same time. You see, what happened was we were at home. We had a technician come to the house to do some work on something. And my husband was making lunch for the kids in the kitchen. I'm dealing with the technician in one room. I come out and I go to my husband and go, "Hey, where's Lucius?" My husband's like, "I just asked him if he wanted cheese. I turned and got the cheese." So right now we're talking about 30 seconds of time. I looked around the kitchen, couldn't see him. I looked in the living room, he wasn't there. I ran to the backyard because the back door was right there, didn't see him. Ran to the bedrooms, looked under the beds, looked in the closet, and I finally got to the room where the technician had been working before he left. And I saw something that made my heart just plummet. The door was open. Now, like, okay, so the door was open. The door was open to the swimming pool. And as I went through that door, I saw the most terrifying sight of my life. My almost 2-year-old was floating in the swimming pool, face down. The neighbors told me I screamed, and I screamed pretty loud. I dived in, I pulled him out, and I started doing CPR. I can't tell you if I checked his pulse. I can't tell you what I did. I just know that I was in auto mode. The good thing for us, my father was a paramedic for 40 years before he retired, and he insisted that I had not just basic first aid knowledge, but more advanced as well. He wanted to make sure that I could provide CPR, that I could help in the form of an emergency, that I had all these things going. I performed CPR until the firefighters came and took over. Don't ask me how long they took. I really know I was in a haze. It didn't feel real to me. I climbed into the front of that ambulance. I was dripping from head to toe. And I kept looking in the back through the little window to check on my son. He had firefighters working on him. They had monitors hooked up. They put a IV lead into his leg. It had gone into the bone in his leg. And we went straight into trauma at Phoenix Children's Hospital. I kept telling people, I'm a good mom. This wasn't supposed to happen to me. I watch my kids, I promise. This wasn't supposed to happen. A nurse wrapped a towel around me, tried to get me to sit down. Apparently, I learned later, they diagnosed me with shock at this point. And the doctor came out. Oh, I was trying to watch it, like I told you, helicopter parent. I was trying to watch, I wouldn't sit down. I was just hovering and watching and making sure I could see everything. And I heard news, which I thought, honestly, I thought was good. He was breathing. He was semi-responsive. They were going to move him to another room out of the trauma room, still in the ER, and they were going to admit him. About half an hour later, they told me they would have to put him on a ventilator. Not because he needed the machine to breathe for him, but he was labored slightly and they felt it would help him heal if the machine did some work. I said yes. They ventilated him. It was scary to watch them do that to him. And they moved us to the PICU. Less than 24 hours later, he was off ventilator, off the machines, being a happy little 2-year-old. It was like, oh my gosh, did this really just happen in my dream? Am I in like some form of like nightmare? I posted on Facebook. And here's where it gets scary. And this is where I need your help. The amount of parents that told me that they did not know how to perform CPR, that it was too expensive, that they wouldn't know what to do if they were in my position. Well, here's the scariest part. In the US, there are approximately 830 drownings per year and 3,600 non-fatal drownings. That number is terrifying. I know I went through an absolute agony and I managed to keep my child. My child was saved, and they said it was because of the immediate administration of effective CPR. I still had to deal with all the fallout and being accused of being a bad mom, but the doctors all said he would not have survived if we hadn't have acted so quickly. So I'm going to give you some tips because I'm telling you, I do not want you to be in my shoes. I'd rather you have this knowledge and never need it than not have it and need it. It's ABC time. You know, you did it on Sesame Street. You did ABCs. You sang the songs. You learned A is for antelope. Well, I'm telling you, A is actually for adult supervision. This goes for adult swimmers and children swimmers. If you are having a party and you're having a couple of tipsy drinks, that's okay. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Just like you would with driving, have a designated driver. Or rather a designated attendant, because you never know. And one of the biggest causes of adult drownings is inebriation, because you think you can do something and you can't do it, and you know it goes sideways. So always have adult supervision, especially with children around water, because it takes less than an inch of water for a child to drown. B is for barrier. You always want to have layers of protection in place. We had a pool fence with a locked key. We had a locked door from the other room that went out to the pool. We just didn't realize that someone had left it open. Always, 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 if something happens, make sure you check water first. I didn't. I checked every room first, but we could have saved a minute to 2 minutes if we checked the water first. But have barrier, have layers of protection. You can get floating devices that sound off an alarm if anything over a certain size falls into the pool. You can do barriers that go over the top of the pool. You can do fences, walls. Have those barriers in place. And C is for classes. You want to have classes. You want to have CPR classes. Swim classes. You can have your children learn to swim from a baby, where they learn how to fall in, how to turn over onto their back. Sign up for the classes. Sign up and get the education. Again, I would rather you never, ever need this information, but have it in your back pocket just in case. And it's also for Coast Guard approved life jackets. If you're out on a boat or lake, please, please, please make sure you have a Coast Guard approved life jacket. It could be the difference between life and death. Some more tips for you. Do not allow your children to play around the pool area when it's not swim time. Have it a separate area. Be aware of it. Teach them safe distance. Teach them to respect the water. Have life-saving devices near the pool. You never know when you'll need them, and I'd much rather you never need it than need it and not have it. Now, kids, I don't know, you saw I had 5 of them. They love to climb. So have your tables, chairs, ladders, boxes, anything you think of that they can climb on, have that away from the fence. Because if they see a mountain to climb, they will be adventurous, they will attempt it, and we don't want that. Check the placement of things like dog doors. Did you realize that a dog door that goes out onto the poolside is an open invitation? If a dog can fit through it, so can a child. So make sure your dog doors don't go out to the poolside. Make sure that you have all that doors and windows locked. I read a story where someone had left a window slightly ajar. They'd opened it all the way and popped out and gone into the pool that way. Post your local emergency number and your address. You see, if you're having an event, not everyone's going to know your address. So if you have that posted near your pool, that way if someone has to call 911, we don't have a, hey, what's your address? It's right there. Think about installing a phone right near that water. Rather you have it than not need it. If you find a child in any source of water, pull them out, yell for help, call 911. When I found Lucius, I screamed, pulled him out. My husband called 911. The neighbor heard me screaming and came over. Begin CPR if you're trained. If you are not trained, the 911 operator will talk you through it. That's what they do. They're trying to help you the best way they can. And you keep going until help arrives. Don't be, oh, they're pulling up now, I'm going to stop. No, wait till they kneel down next to you. That 1 second is all they need to do a changeover. Don't have anything stop between then. How can you learn more? I know this is something I've just thrown a whole bunch of information. You're like, but I need more. I want more. One, if you're in Arizona, please, please, please go to preventdrownings.org. It is the local Coalition for Drowning Prevention. It's the Drowning Prevention Coalition of Arizona. It's a CDC-formed organization that has been in place to help educate and give information and also provide grants to organizations so that way they can provide low-income families with these tools that they need. It is there to help, and their website has a ton of useful videos and a ton of information that can help you save someone's life. And remember, better to have it and never need it than not have it and need it. So I'm going to tell you, I'm lucky. I went through a tragedy that wasn't a tragedy. I was a lucky one. I didn't lose my son that day. 830 on average did. I was in the 3,600. Knowing about water safety saves lives. And I had a choice at the end of that day. I could choose to let it haunt me, to keep calling myself a bad mom, let all the judgment rain down, or I could choose to share my story in the hopes that just one child is saved. So here's me sharing my story. I want you to do everything you can to have water safety front of mind, especially now everyone is home. I know it's busy. I know it's crazy. But just 5 minutes can be the difference between life and death.